People in the Portland area who are retiring or downsizing, where are they living? Well, that's exactly what we're going to show you in this video, and all that starts now. Hey, what's up everybody? This is Paul Clem and Seth Marchant with the Home Team Brokers coming to you from Portland, Oregon. If this is your first time to the channel living in Oregon, make sure to hit the subscribe button and tap the bell to get notified every time we drop a new video. People reach out to us all the time who are moving to the area. We love to help, so if that's you, give us a call, send us a text, shoot us an email, or click the link below in the description of this video and schedule a Zoom call with us. Either way, we would love to help with your move to Portland.
All right, so here we are in Charbonneau. Charbonneau is in Clackamas County, east side of the river, just inside of the city limits of Wilsonville. Charbonneau is one of the top sort of destination retirement spots for the Portland metro area.
Yeah, Charbonneau's great, and we're going to talk about Charbonneau. We're going to talk about a lot of other areas around the Portland metro area, some right in the city, some more in suburban settings, and some in more kind of country and rural settings. You know, obviously people who are downsizing, you know, a lot of these folks are going to be purchasing a home that they might spend the rest of their lives in. So there's a lot of considerations there, not only for right now, but also for, you know, what your lifestyle looks like in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. And so, you know, there's a lot of consistency as far as what that criteria might look like. A lot of people are looking for kind of an easy, laid-back lifestyle, you know, great community amenities, you know, like green spaces and walkways and sidewalks, great restaurants, access to grocery shopping, access to healthcare. That's a big one that we hear about.
Yeah, we'll talk about all the hospitals and where those are located at. Yep,
absolutely. So we're going to talk about some areas that tend to skew a little bit older in terms of an age demographic, and a big reason why is because these are areas where you know, you can find great community when, you know, if you're looking for kind of that downsizing type home, or you're looking for a place that, you know, you're going to live out the rest of your days. Yeah, so you know, we can start with Portland, kind of Portland proper, and in particular more of kind of city living. Believe it or not, you know, a lot of people who are downsizing are looking for more of an urban setting. You know, there's a lot of access to a lot of things you would need, or pretty much everything that you would need. Also in more urban settings, you find a lot of condos. So condos are, you know, a very popular choice for people who are downsizing. And in Portland, there's a couple of areas in particular right in the city that are really popular. The Pearl District, which is pretty much all condos, and then there's mixed-use buildings with a lot of great restaurants. In fact, some of the best restaurants in the city are right in the Pearl District. You have at least a couple of grocery stores, there's museums, there's shops, you know, there's all kinds of things to do, get out and walk around. You know, it's very high energy compared to maybe, you know, not quite such an urban setting. So high-rise condos, HOA fees are going to get you though, so depending on your budget, definitely something that you want to look at. But when it comes to condo living, you're looking at, you know, very low maintenance, you know, and that HOA is part of, you know, what's going to take care of a lot of the things that you might be doing as far as maintenance. If you were to own a single family residence, obviously there's no landscaping or yard maintenance. So, you know, that's a big plus. And then the south waterfront as well, which isn't quite right in the city. It's actually pretty isolated, but you have these high-rise condo and apartment buildings there. There's a few restaurants. There's access to the walking trail right on the Willamette River. So, you know, you have these sweeping views of the city, the river, the mountains. It's gorgeous, and definitely seems to be a really popular area for people who are downsizing and kind of in that circumstance. So that's the south waterfront.
Yeah, and then heading over the river to the east side, probably one of the more popular, maybe the most popular area would be the Mount Tabor area.
Yeah.
Right? It's beautiful there. You've got the mountain itself actually is a kind of a big attraction for a lot of people to go, just hiking, walking. There's just miles and miles of trails that you can hike and walk through on Mount Tabor, and then you're really close to pretty much everything, close to shopping, close to great restaurants, sort of similar like it is over on the west side. So that's what attracts a lot of people there. And you've kind of got a little bit more of an urban but a suburban setting as well too. You're going to find a wide variety of homes there. A lot of older homes because that was kind of one of the earliest, that area, that southeast Portland was kind of one of the earliest developments of Portland. So you'll find a lot of older homes, but homes that have been really well maintained. You'll find a few brand new homes that have been that were tear downs that they built new homes on, but mostly older homes that have been really well maintained. And there's a pretty wide range of homes. Your typical home there, I would say, would probably be like a bungalow, 3 or 4 bedroom bungalow, 2 bath type of home.
Tabor, as you're getting right near the park, and this is a huge, enormous park, right in southeast Portland. Tons of hiking trails. You can bike. It's
It's
awesome.
got to be like one of the biggest parks in that area on the east side, right?
Oh, it definitely is.
Yeah,
definitely. A lot of bungalows, kind of Portland bungalows. A lot of those are single level, but there are some mid-century builds out there too. A lot of single level mid-century ranches as well. You're also not going to find too big of lots in this area, which a lot of people kind of in this circumstance tend to favor, unless they do want acreage and land, which we'll talk about that. I mean, you're going to get pretty small lots, pretty easy maintenance as far as as far as the landscaping and yard maintenance go. But older homes though too, deferred maintenance, there's kind of an ever-growing list of things that need to be updated, and so living in a southeast Portland neighborhood like Mount Tabor, that is going to be a consideration.
All right, so moving sort of south and kind of staying in southeast, next we have Waverly. So that's a pretty small area, right? Not a ton of homes in there, but that demographic does skew, I think 60, 65 plus. And it's right on a golf course, which you're going to kind of find that as a theme. There will be a handful of places throughout this video that you'll see, just like Charbonneau, where we are right now, that are on a golf course. These are going to be larger homes, probably not like your typical, really not downsizer homes, but the demographic is a lot older there. These homes you're probably not going to find anything under 7 figures, but it is a nice community for people that want to still be pretty close to Portland, because you're east of south of Mount Tabor, just sort of north of Milwaukee, right kind of next to Selwood. So you're really close to Portland, but in this kind of quiet, quaint community on Waverly Golf Course, which is one of the better golf courses around Portland.
Yeah, I think it's probably the most exclusive golf club, private golf club in the Portland area, maybe in the state of Oregon. I'm not sure exactly.
Right, like when the president comes here. I know in the past, when presidents of the United States have come here, oftentimes that's where they'll go. Yeah,
I was driving by there one time, and I got caught behind a motorcade.
Me too.
And I think it was Paul Ryan was here for some reason.
Oh, okay.
But either way,
it's 4 or 5 years ago.
High-ranking elected official, checking out Waverly, and it's right on the Willamette River too. So I don't know if all of the houses are going to be right on the river, but you're going to get kind of some peekaboo views of the Willamette River as well as the golf course. So yeah, definitely kind of one of those really old, established Portland neighborhoods, and the age demographic does tend to skew a little bit older. So if you're looking to be around kind of a lot of people of similar age in a really nice, more kind of upscale type area, Waverly, that area would be a good place to land.
Yeah. All right. Well, next I think is Charbonneau.
Charbonneau.
Where we're at.
Yeah.
So Charbonneau, like we mentioned, this is in Wilsonville. This is a planned community. There's how many homes are here?
I mean, several hundred.
Yeah, at least I think it's close to 300 homes are here or so here. So you've got condos, you've got townhomes, and you have a single family home. So you have a pretty wide range of homes. Another thing to note, like a place like a Waverly, there's homes there don't come on the market too often. Charbonneau does tend to have homes that there's typically homes that are coming on the market. So if you do want to move here, it's not going to be that hard to actually find a place, or you're not going to have to wait for years and years for something to come on the market. It is highly desirable. It's probably one of the top kind of retirement places in the Portland area, because you have this master planned community on a golf course with this downtown village, all these different shops. It's really nice here, and it's surrounded by a good area too. Wilsonville's probably one of the more desirable towns to live in the Portland metropolitan area, just in general.
Yeah, you know, my impression of Charbonneau, probably more than really any other community in the Portland metro area, is it's really geared toward kind of that you know, 55 plus style community, although it's not, you know, it's not exclusively 55 plus, right. But you know, it's kind of, it's anchored by this golf course here, and it's very private. So it's very quiet, very laid back. You're not going to get really,
with the exception of the airplanes flying.
Yeah, with the exception of the airplanes, obviously, because there is an airport, I believe, in Canby, or maybe it's Wilsonville.
Wilsonville, yeah.
Yeah. So. You know, you're not, either way, you're not going to get a lot of, you know, through traffic like you would in some, you know, kind of just regular suburbs, or
yeah.
Especially in the city. Obviously, the whole landscape is really flat. There's walking trails everywhere. A lot of these homes are single level. So, you know, you get a lot of the elements that it seems like a lot of people who are downsizing and kind of, you know, nearing that, you know, that retirement age are looking for. What do we got next?
All right, next is Merrillhurst. Merrillhurst is right on the West Linn Lake Oswego border, on the other side of the river, almost right across, sort of right across near Waverly. So on the west side of the river. Merrillhurst is, if you're familiar with the name, there's a college actually that drew a lot of people in there called Merrillhurst College that actually closed down in 2018. I don't know what they have planned for it yet, but they are renovating that entire area. They've got a brand new strip mall, and it's a big actually spot for people to go and retire, whether you're downsizing or just looking for a quieter area, because you're really close to shopping. Between West Linn and Lake Oswego, you've got a lot of great shopping. There's a lot of great homes there, and there's a lot of homes that will often come on the market. Typically larger homes. There are a lot of one levels, but there are some bigger homes there too. But there's quite a variety of homes, and it's just a kind of a nice, quiet, quaint area. You can find some spots along the river too if you want to be in the river and have a view.
Yeah, and then just north of West Linn, in this area that Seth was talking about, you have Lake Oswego, which is, you know, definitely, I would say, the most kind of desirable and sought after suburb in the Portland metro area for a number of reasons. But there's a couple of pockets in Lake Oswego that seem to be really well suited for people downsizing. And first would be this first edition area of Lake Oswego, which is basically downtown Lake Oswego, completely renovated and newly developed in the last, you know, really 10 years. Some of the best restaurants you can get in the Portland metro area, great shopping, there's a great farmer's market. Yeah. You're right next to the lake. And in some of these areas around there, you can get some older homes that aren't super big. They're single level. They are going to be a little more expensive though when you look at price per square foot. So very desirable, great community in Lake Oswego, in particular that first edition area. But again, it is going to skew a little bit higher in terms of cost. And then you have Mountain Park, which is just kind of on the north side of Lake Oswego, and it's literally at the top of this mountain, and it's really a big condo community, and there are HOAs, but it is a little more affordable, and there's a huge community center there too. There's an Olympic-sized pool, there's a gym, there's access to a ton of things, you know, at the community center, classes, activities, and all of that is included for the residents of Mountain Park. So that's another great area you could end up.
And one thing I would say about that area too that's maybe a little bit unique is it's pretty quiet, and it has a pretty kind of quaint, charming feel to it, but there's also a lot of things to do, and you can get to downtown Lake Oswego, which is typically, there's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of people out and about walking around. So if you don't want something that's just completely quiet and totally sleepy, and you want to be around some other people and some things to do, also low crime too. Lake Oswego and then Merrillhurst, where I just mentioned, that kind of rough area is going to be probably the lowest crime area in the entire Portland metropolitan area. So that's another thing that really draws people in too.
Yeah. So what else we got? We got King City.
King City.
Yeah, which is kind of Tualatin Tigard. It really just is just south of Tigard on Highway 99.
Yeah, King City. So that's actually our only exclusively 55 plus, or there's an area in King City that's 55 plus exclusively. Again, most of these areas aren't limited to 55 plus like Charbonneau, but you'll just find that just about everybody here is 55 plus. In King City, they do actually have an area where it is specifically limited to 55 plus.
Yeah, King City's really just a stretch on the highway. So you have, a couple grocery stores, fast food, stuff like that. And then there's a lot of apartments. There might be some condos mixed in as well, but most of the homes, the single family homes in that area, are in an area called Summerfield, which is actually, to my knowledge, the only 55 plus community in the Portland metro area. And it's anchored by a golf course, just like where we are here in Charbonneau. So there's a lot of similarities. In Summerfield, you're going to be more like, maybe 20 minutes, 25 minutes to downtown Portland. Where we are here in Charbonneau, you're looking at maybe 45 minutes to downtown Portland.
Yeah, a little bit farther out.
Yeah.
All right, after King City.
We can also talk about some suburbs on the west side. So, pretty close to downtown Portland, but up into Beaverton, you have West Slope, Raleigh Hills, and Cedar Hills. These are all areas that tend to skew a little bit older in terms of age demographic. These are all, pretty much, mid-century homes and a lot of single-level homes. And these are just really nice areas that have been very well maintained. You can tell the homes have been very well maintained over the years. And I know it's a really popular area for people who are downsizing or kind of nearing retirement age. There's some ponds, there's a lot of walking trails, there's tons of trees, and you're really only about 15 minutes to downtown Portland, kind of at most. So if you want to be in more of a suburban setting, live in a little bit of a smaller home, single level, have a great community feel, but be able to get into Portland and go to some restaurants and things like that. This area up on the hills, Cedar Hills, West Slope, and Raleigh Hills are all going to be really good areas.
All right, so let's get a little bit further outside of Portland. How about Shahilah Mountains?
Yeah.
So just kind of what a lot of people would call just wine country around the Newburgh area. If you look on a map, kind of northwest of Newburgh, out towards Yamhill, Gaston, all of that area, that demographic skews quite a bit older. It's not necessarily like a specific retirement community. It's just a place in the kind of the Portland metro area. And again, this is probably, you're talking 45 minutes to an hour outside of the Portland proper, that a lot of people really enjoy to go to because it's quiet. This would be a place where if you wanted maybe some more land, if you want to be close to these kind of like cuter, charming towns like a Yamhill, like a Dayton, like a Dundee, something like that, that's kind of the appeal. It's kind of maybe more that small town living, but you're not completely like removed from the Portland metropolitan area. That area is probably going to be the farthest away from some of your hospitals. All the areas that we've mentioned, from the waterfront to the Pearl, over to Mount Tabor, down to Charbonneau, you're going to find major hospitals from Legacy to Providence. You've got OHSU, of course, all kind of within a 15 or 20 minute drive to all these areas. Now, once you get out there to like wine country, your nearest hospital, I believe, is probably going to be in Tualatin. A Legacy in Tualatin, which is probably like an hour drive. So you're definitely out there, but kind of that small country living, maybe if you want a little bit more land, a little bit of acreage, is kind of what draws people out to that area. So that kind of makes it also one of the kind of the top spots for people either to retire or just downsizing and wanting to get out of the city.
Yeah, I mean, there's really two ends of the spectrum that we see as far as, people who are empty nesters and downsizing. And, it ranges from, wanting to be in the city, maybe being in a condo, having a little more of an active lifestyle as far as being involved in some of the things that living in a city has to offer, all the way to people who want to be on an acre or a few acres. Obviously, that's going to be a lot more work, a lot more labor intensive, but maybe you really like gardening, landscaping, all the things that you can do, the privacy, and, like Shahilah Mountains and a lot of other areas, too, that are like this. It can be more wooded, so the scenery, you're not looking at a ton of other houses or big buildings. You kind of have the place to yourself a little bit. And everything in between. And, I think really the point is in the Portland metro area, you can get really kind of any type of setting that you would want. And there's still going to be a lot of areas that are going to be well suited for kind of that retired life.
Yeah. Now I'll give you one more while we're talking about rural areas, because that area in wine country, not going to be the most inexpensive. If you want a little bit more land, a little bit more acreage, and you don't want to be too far out, you don't want to be too far away from a hospital, a good spot would be, you're not going to really find this on a map, but the locals refer to it as Springwater, due to the road that goes through Oregon City. So there's a place in Oregon City, I think on a map it says Logan, but nobody calls it Logan, or Redland. You've got Redland Road, which runs you into Springwater, but there's a place in Oregon City, which is a really large area. This is kind of like northeast, this is outside of the boundaries of Oregon City, but within the zip code of Oregon City, 97045. If you want kind of a one level on like an acre, maybe even a couple acres, that's not, gonna break the bank, that's probably gonna be one of the better spots. And there's a lot of people that go to retire out there because they want to be kind of on some acreage that's not too far away. You've got Willamette Falls Hospital, which is maybe a 15-20 minute drive from kind of just about anywhere on Springwater. So that's another one too, if you want a little bit of land.
Yeah, kind of in that same breath too, Canby, which is kind of, I guess, south of Oregon City, so kind of further south of this area that Seth was just talking about. There's North Plains, which is north of Hillsboro, Forest Grove area. That can get kind of wooded up into the mountains, a lot of bigger lots, even all the way out to like McMinnville, which is gonna be a good hour away from like downtown Portland, but it's small town living, still relatively close to the city, but a lot of great amenities that you can get, in particular in a small town, that you're not going to necessarily have the same type of community feel when you're right kind of in close to the city. Yeah,
and there's a fair amount of people that are either downsizing or retiring that want a one level on a half acre or an acre, and there's just not a ton of places that you can find those properties, and because they are desirable, they typically go pretty quick. So those are probably some. McMinnville is a good area to mention if you really want to get outside of Portland, where you can actually find a little bit of land and actually find something that's a one level, like 3-bedroom 2-bath type of thing.
Yeah,
I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bonus.
Yeah, I mean, there is another part of Oregon that we happen to know a lot about, that a lot of people like to move to retire.
The Oregon coast.
The Oregon coast.
If you haven't been to the Oregon coast anytime recently, because I know a lot of people in Portland, or like Eugene, Corvallis, a lot of people, it's very common to take a day trip to the Oregon coast, and I kind of grew up doing that occasionally. You go to the coast for like a day, because it's like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours from some spots, so it's not too far for a little day trip. It's very common for people to go to the Oregon coast, and I think there's kind of a lot of nostalgia. If you haven't been though recently, it's sure grown up over the past 5 or 10 years, and it's become very, very popular.
Yeah.
There's a lot of towns that have been really well maintained, a lot of restaurants that have moved out there now. So the Oregon coast is more and more popular than ever, I think, not just for Oregonians, but we do get a lot of people, especially from California, of course.
Yeah, and even the East Coast.
Even the East Coast, right? We just helped somebody from Delaware buy a house on the Oregon coast. So if you're actually looking on the Oregon coast, we cover the entire Oregon coast from Astoria to Brookings. We know it well. We've been working with people out there for a while now, and so that's another place too. If you're interested in the Oregon coast and you're watching this video, you can definitely reach out to us.
Yep, absolutely.
Other than that, like we said, some of those spots, like trying to find that perfect spot, that perfect lot, the right size, the perfect home, it can be tough. So you'll want to reach out to us. Give us a call, send us a text, shoot us an email, click the link below, especially if you're coming from out of town. Usually scheduling a Zoom with us is going to be the best way to start, but you'll want to get in touch with us, let us know what you're looking for, and we can start finding that for you.
Yeah, everybody has, kind of what they envision, for their next home if they're downsizing, and kind of in this circumstance that we're describing. And again, there's going to be a lot of options in the greater Portland area that could suit you, but we got to get in touch and have that conversation, and then we can start pointing you in the right direction. So we look forward to having that conversation. And if this video helped you, give us a thumbs up. It lets us know that we're doing a good job. Make sure and hit the subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this. We release them every week, so once you subscribe,
tap the bell. That way you'll get notified each time we drop a new video. And feel free to comment below. Let us know what you think. Where's your dream place to retire? Where's the best spot for you? Let us know, and we'll reply back. And I hope this video helps.
Thanks for watching.
Take care, everyone.